I know why you're here. You didn't search for this video. You didn't plan to spend these minutes of your life listening to a stranger talk about the soul, yet here you are. And that is not an accident. The Spirit of the living God has a way of reaching into the noise we hide behind and pulling us into stillness when our hearts are ready. I know that feeling. The restless, gnawing ache in the center of your chest that whispers that the life you are living is far too small for the spirit you carry. It's the quiet grief of knowing you were made for depth in a world obsessed with surfaces. I remember sitting on the edge of my bed at 3 a.m., the silence of the house pressing against me like a weight. I stared into the dark and asked questions I was too afraid to speak during the day. Why me? Why is everything so hard? Why do I feel like a ghost in my own life? I felt like a glitch in the system, like everyone else had received a manual for happiness that I somehow missed. I tried to force myself to enjoy what everyone else chased: status, attention, shallow victories, but it felt like eating cardboard when my soul was starving for something real. I thought I was broken because I couldn't settle, couldn't numb out, and couldn't pretend. Then, something shifted. Not a loud voice, not thunder, not drama, just a deep, steady knowing that settled into my bones like warmth after a long winter. A message formed without sound. I didn't make you to fit in. I made you to stand out. You are not lost. You are being refined. In that moment, my pain stopped feeling like punishment and started feeling like preparation. The isolation, the misunderstandings, the seasons where nothing made sense. They were not signs I had been abandoned. They were evidence that I was being shaped for something heavier, something eternal. If you are watching this right now, you are part of a remnant. You are what many call a chosen one, and that is not a title of ego. It is a mantle of responsibility. It means your life has been marked by resistance because your spirit carries weight in realms you cannot see. It means you have been drafted into a battle that operates beyond headlines and human applause. But hear this clearly: you are not just surviving anymore. The training season is ending. The awakening is beginning. Today, I will share 7 divine signs that reveal who you truly are. Don't just listen with your ears. Listen with your spirit, because one of these signs holds the key to the cage you didn't even realize you were still living in. Sign 1. The total collapse of the false self. I spent years building a version of myself that was easy to accept, easy to like, and easy to keep around. I became the yes person, the peacekeeper, the one who could smooth tension with a smile even when my spirit was exhausted. I wore a professional mask at work, a social mask with friends, and a family mask at home. And I wore them so well that somewhere along the way, I forgot what my real face felt like. Then, God began the demolition. When you are chosen for something deeper, He will not allow you to live supported by false pillars. He will let the relationship fall apart, even though you gave it everything. He will let the career you thought defined you reach a dead end. He will even allow your name to be misunderstood or spoken about by people you once trusted. In the moment, it feels like punishment, like abandonment, like everything stable is being ripped away. I remember crying out, asking why He was letting them ruin me, not realizing He was only allowing the false version of me to collapse. The chosen cannot operate inside a lie. When everything starts falling apart, it is often because truth is trying to break through. The walls are not just crumbling. They are opening your view to a horizon you could not see before. This is the death of the ego, a spiritual funeral for the identity built on fear, approval, and survival. You cannot wear the robe of your true calling while clinging to costumes that were never meant for you. God is cleansing the soul, stripping away people-pleasing, trauma reactions, and rehearsed smiles, returning you to His original design. If you feel empty right now, do not panic. Empty is not failure. Empty is preparation to be filled with something eternal. Sign 2. The gift of the spiritual X-ray. I used to think I was just cynical, the kind of person who always found a shadow in a room full of light. I would meet someone who seemed perfect, the one everyone else adored, and instead of feeling comfort, my stomach would tighten. There was always something just slightly off. A smile that arrived half a second too late, eyes that scanned the room even while they spoke about loyalty, a warmth in their voice that never quite reached their presence. I used to hate myself for noticing. I would lie awake replaying conversations, scolding myself. Why can't you just relax? Why do you always assume the worst? Why can't you be normal? For a long time, I labeled it negativity, insecurity, or some flaw in my personality that made connection harder than it should be. But over time, patterns proved my instincts right, more often than they were wrong. The perfect people eventually revealed hidden agendas. The charming ones turned manipulative. The overly kind ones quietly kept score. That's when it clicked. It wasn't judgment living in me. It was discernment. As someone spiritually sensitive, your inner world is tuned to signals most people have learned to ignore. You don't just hear words, you feel intentions. You don't just see behavior, you sense alignment or the lack of it. Rooms have atmospheres for you. Compliments can carry static. Silence can be louder than noise. This awareness can feel isolating, like standing behind glass while everyone else mingles freely. But this sensitivity is not a curse. It's training. You are learning to move through deception without absorbing it, to recognize wolves before they bare teeth, and to guard your peace before it's disturbed. What you called anxiety is often intuition. What you called overthinking is spiritual perception. Stop apologizing for the warning system built into your soul. Your gut isn't attacking connection. It's protecting your calling. Sign 3. The wilderness of sacred isolation. I remember a stretch of nearly 3 years when my life went completely silent. Like the volume of the world had been turned down without warning. My phone stopped buzzing. Invitations slowly disappeared, and even conversations with people I loved felt distant, as if an invisible wall had risen between us. I prayed constantly, asking God for community, for just one person who truly understood me, someone who could see what I was carrying inside. But instead of answers, the quiet only grew heavier, deeper, and almost uncomfortable. In that wilderness season, I discovered something both terrifying and beautiful. You cannot be used by God in public until you have been shaped by God in private. The chosen one is always led into isolation before elevation. Moses had the backside of the mountain, Elijah had the cave, and Jesus Christ had the wilderness. There is a pattern to divine preparation. When you are surrounded by people, their opinions become noise, and without realizing it, you start measuring your worth by who calls you, who invites you, and who applauds you. Isolation breaks that addiction. It strips away the illusion that your power comes from popularity, connections, or constant affirmation. In the quiet, God becomes the loudest voice in your life, and His approval starts to matter more than anyone else's. If you are in a season where you feel forgotten, you are not abandoned. You are in the hidden phase. You are like a seed buried under dirt, unseen, overlooked, misunderstood. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening, maybe even like death. But underneath, roots are pushing deep, building the strength to hold the weight of what's coming. Don't rush the process or force doors open. Stay in the silence long enough to be transformed. When the lesson is complete, God will bring you out, and this time, you will be unshakable. Sign 4. The sudden heat of the refiner's fire. There were seasons when it felt like every part of my life was under siege at the same time. My health weakening, my finances stretching thin, my peace of mind slipping through my fingers like sand. It felt less like living and more like surviving inside a furnace that never cooled. I remember looking up in frustration and whispering, "How much more can I possibly take?" In that moment of exhaustion, I saw an image in my mind. A blacksmith, focused and steady, striking glowing metal on an anvil. He wasn't hitting it out of anger. He wasn't trying to destroy it. Every strike had purpose. Every spark meant shaping. He saw the blade before it existed. That's when I understood. Some battles are not random. They are targeted. Pressure reveals value. Refining only happens to something worth refining. The fire wasn't sent to erase me. It was sent to remove everything that was never truly me. Fear, doubt, old wounds, borrowed insecurities. The heat felt unbearable, but it was precise. And when this season ends, and it will end, I won't come out fragile. I'll come out forged, defined, sharper in spirit, steadier in mind, and stronger than anything that tried to break me. Sign 5. The hunger for the deep things. I look at the world sometimes, and it feels like I'm watching a movie in a language I don't speak. People rush past me, chasing clout, chasing money, chasing quick hits of pleasure. And instead of feeling inspired, I feel a strange, quiet emptiness. Not sadness, not jealousy, just a deep, unshakable boredom with the surface of things. If you are truly chosen, surface-level living will never satisfy you again. Small talk feels heavy. Trends feel hollow. You can smile, you can function, but inside, there's a constant whisper saying, there has to be more than this. You carry a hunger that food cannot touch and success cannot silence. You want to understand the mysteries of the kingdom, not just hear about them. You want faith that moves beyond words into power. You want to see healing flow through your hands, peace, silence, chaos, and the presence of God fill a room so strongly it feels alive, electric, and undeniable. You don't crave empty religion or performance spirituality. You crave a relationship that feels like fire in your bones and wind in your lungs. This hunger is not random. It is your calling card. Deep is calling unto deep within you. You are not designed for the shallow end of existence. You were shaped to be an intercessor, a healer, a truth teller, someone who walks where others hesitate. The reason you never quite fit into shallow waters is because you were built for the ocean. Stop shrinking yourself to survive small spaces. You are a leviathan of the spirit, and God is preparing to feed that holy hunger with manna the world cannot comprehend. Sign 6. The language of the divine. Signs and wonders. I used to think I was just imagining things, brushing off the moments that felt too precise to be coincidence. I would pray about a specific problem, something deeply personal, and later that day I'd notice a license plate with a number or date that carried a meaning only I would understand. When discouragement wrapped around me like fog, the same bird would appear on my windowsill, calm and unafraid, as if sent to interrupt my spiral of doubt. Once, standing in a grocery store aisle, I heard a stranger say the exact phrase I had whispered in my heart just minutes earlier, and a chill ran through me. Not fear, but recognition. The chosen one lives in what many call a thin place, where the veil between heaven and earth feels almost transparent. God communicates constantly with those who have learned to listen. He speaks through numbers, through nature, through dreams that feel more vivid than waking life. These are not random events. They are gentle course corrections, reminders that you are not walking alone. You are being shepherded through signs. You are not crazy for noticing patterns. You are awakening to a deeper layer of reality, where the physical world echoes the spiritual one, and divine timing is always at work. Sign 7. The crushing before the oil. This is the final sign, the one that hurts the most because it matters the most. Lately, it feels like the weight of the world has settled on your shoulders, pressing down on your chest, stealing your breath, and filling your days with a strange mix of urgency and deep exhaustion. You wake up tired. You pray tired. You keep going tired. And somewhere inside you wonder how much more you can take. I know this place. I remember feeling like a grape caught in a wine press, squeezed until every bit of my own strength seemed gone. Until I had nothing left to rely on but God. But hear this clearly. Oil does not flow from an olive without crushing, and wine does not come from grapes without pressure. This crushing you feel is not punishment. It is preparation. God is pressing out the last traces of self-reliance so His power can move through you freely, without pride blocking the flow. You are being shaped for authority that can only rest on humility. The pressure is proof the oil is near. You're not being destroyed. You're being poured out, becoming a blessing for a thirsty world that desperately needs what your struggle is producing. If you've listened this far, it's not by accident. Something in you is stirring, something ancient and alive, reminding you that your life carries meaning beyond what you've been told. Today you must see yourself through a different lens. You are not a failure, not the black sheep, not cursed, not the odd one who never quite fit in. You are chosen, set apart with intention. Before this moment ever arrived, before your first breath, your path was seen, and you were trusted with a strength forged only through fire. Every hardship, every rejection, every silent tear was not proof of abandonment, but preparation, training that built endurance in places no one else could see. What tried to break you was terrified of who you would become if you ever realized your true identity. And now it's time to awaken. Lift your head, straighten your back. You carry divine purpose woven into your spirit, and nothing, no past mistake, no delay, no opposition, can cancel what has already been written over your life. The season of shrinking back is ending. The wilderness that shaped you is giving way to open ground. You are not just here to survive. You are here to reclaim, to rebuild, to shine in places that once felt impossibly dark. Stay close to the quiet place where strength is renewed. The world may grow heavier, but your light was designed for times like this. Do not fear the elevation ahead or the responsibility that comes with it. You will not walk it alone. This calling is bigger than comfort and deeper than circumstance. If these words resonate, it's because something eternal within you recognizes truth. You're part of something greater, and your breakthrough is not on the way. It has already begun.